Welcome to the Multiply Your Success podcast, where each week we help growth-minded entrepreneurs and franchise leaders take the next step in their expansion journey. I'm your host, Tom Dufour, CEO of Big Sky Franchise Team. And as we open today, if you are thinking about franchising your business or you're a franchisor, how are you helping your franchisees build wealth through their franchise system? And what measures have you put in place to help them not just grow revenue and profitability, but also for them to build lasting wealth? Well, our guest today is Adam Cahill with Supply Pointe, whom I've had the great fortune of knowing and working with for many years in franchising. And he talks with us about how he's helping his franchisees not only grow their franchise location, but also how to use their franchise to build personal wealth. Now, Adam is the founder of Supply Pointe, and prior to building and starting the family business, Adam taught high school social studies, and he was also a football coach, baseball coach, and a track coach. Now, by using the communication tools he developed as a teacher, Adam takes a deliberate approach to educate his clients and his franchisees about the benefits to using a one-stop solutions provider for all their logistics needs. You're going to love this interview, so let's go ahead and jump right into it.
Tom, thanks for having me. Great to be here. Good to see you again. Yeah, my name is Adam Cahill, founder of a company called Supply Pointe. We are a B2B logistics franchise. We sell transportation and packaging to industrial America. Very excited to tell you more and be with you today, Tom.
I'm so glad you're here. We've known each other for many years in franchising and had the good fortune of working together through franchising. And one of the things about your business and about what you're doing to me that just stands out as just one of those big aha moments is thinking about the types of products that your franchise system sells and the customers you serve. It's one of those things where everybody needs it, but you forget about how does all of that happen? So how do you stumble into this kind of a business, and give a little overview on that?
Great question. Sometimes I wonder how I fell into Supply Pointe and the business and franchising and the whole thing. You know, I had moved my family to North Carolina actually to teach high school social studies. And I did that for multiple years. I loved it. Loved empowering, people to learn. And I love teaching and coaching, mentoring. It was just a passion for me. And then during the Great Recession, when they started laying off teachers and budget cuts, I couldn't believe my job was on the line. And I had a master's degree and done graduate work. And all of a sudden, it's not enough. And I've been putting in the hard work and the hours. And I kind of joke and say at 29 years old, I was having I don't like to say quarter life crisis. I like to inflate and say I had a fifth life crisis. So the point is I knew I needed to do something different. I wasn't paying the bills. It was living a little too paycheck to paycheck for me. And I needed something different. Anybody can go get a job, of course, and there's plenty out there. But I really wanted to take control of my own destiny, and I wanted to build something special. And I had started actually calling on industrial companies right when the bell rang at 2:30 when the bell rang, and I started knocking on some doors and making some relationships out in the field. And lo and behold, I started putting a couple sales together. And I just couldn't believe how quick my business started to grow. And the nice thing was it was residual income. And so pretty quickly, I knew I wasn't going to miss that teaching income. And I love the freedom and the flexibility and the low overhead that I was essentially gifted with in this business model. And I took off. And I knew sky was the limit. I learned it was a $16 trillion industry. I knew nothing about being a business owner or pallets, boxes, drums, freight, logistics. I knew nothing, but pretty intuitive, self-taught for the most part. And next thing I know, I had a business. Took off. And then I realized the best thing for me to grow is to duplicate having more me's. And that's why I actually thought, because this was such a life-changing moment for my journey, I was very stressed out financially. And I thought maybe with franchising, it changed my life. Maybe we can bring in some other folks that can help grow the brand, and it would change their livelihood. And we've seen that happen firsthand with some great people that we now call family. Our franchisees that have been here since day one have grown their business to crazy numbers. We're so proud of them, and we're going after next level mountains to climb and some big ideas as far as getting their income to a whole nother level. It's exciting. So a lot of good things happening, Tom. I'm very blessed to be in a great industry and a great business that allows us to scale and grow fast.
I think that's really interesting how you share where you started your career as an educator and then moving into this and finding success and now being able to teach others to do the same who maybe had unrelated careers or weren't in this type of business. Talk a little bit about the types of products and services that you're providing to the customer, because I always find it so fascinating with what you do.
Business to business. We say we're B2B logistics. Really, I kind of alluded to it. It's transportation and industrial packaging. So think of it like this. Our customer puts their blood, sweat, and tears into making their product, call it a widget. Whether they're in the chemical or food or paper, steel industry, they put their blood, sweat, and tears into making their product. And they've got to get it out the door in a timely fashion. And they rely on top drawer suppliers like us to provide those products and services. So think of it like this. They put their blood, sweat, and tears into that product, and then we can help them palletize it, box it up, wrap it up, and get it on a truck and ship it from A to B, whether A to B is domestic or international. Supply Pointe can be that one-stop shop. So we put those pallet programs in place, those corrugated programs, bulk bag shipping crates, lumber, the list goes on. And if you actually dig a little bit deeper, you realize there's 1 million plus SKUs in the $16 trillion robust logistics industry. And there's hundreds of millions of dollars moving every day around just your little marketplace there in your backyard. So it's fun and exciting. And the most important thing is that our customers know that we have their back. Just real quick, Simon Sinek wrote a book called Start With Why. And the customers, they don't care what we do. They don't care that we do pallets or boxes or freight. There's 1 million folks that do that. They can find that anywhere. And they don't care how good we say we are. They care how much we care. And so the bullseye is essentially making sure that customer knows that they're going to get the top drawer communication, service, quality product, responsible but aggressive pricing, and know that we're going to make sure they're under no circumstances their production line shuts down. We say staying ahead of tomorrow. It means we are proactively planning for our customers' production lines and making sure that the cost of shutting down is never even thought about with us. So you don't just fire the pallet guy, you'd be firing Adam or the Supply Pointe guy, because we have their back. And then we're building relationships that are impenetratable once we really get in, and then become integrated and create those multiple streams of residual income. But you're integrated, and they really become somebody that treats you like a friend and a partner, as opposed to some commodity and some vendor they can find anywhere. So it's really important our customers feel that. And again, you learn, the customers will sometimes coach you and train you and tell you, hey, I need help with my pallet program. I need help with my box program. We need to eliminate our amount of SKUs or cut down on our costs, or we need a waste removal program. And we teach and train and support that with our franchisees. And there's so much to learn. There's an endless amount of stuff out there that we're teaching our folks. And, as a teacher, I take pride and enjoy that part. I still get to mentor and coach now business owners start a business from scratch. And we get people from all walks of life. And that's what's really fun and exciting about where we're at today.
I think that was a really interesting point. Having that heart and really caring. And it can almost sound like an oxymoron in an industry that is commodity driven.
Sure.
It's very heavily commodity driven. So how do you address that or communicate that to help teach your current franchisees, or maybe someone that's interested in this, so that they're bringing that in when maybe people they're bumping into in the industry are used to just kind of a gruff or rough kind of commodity type approach to things?
Well, my Sandler sales training vendor is going to love this shout out. But Sandler sales training has taught our people a lot about sales and training. And everybody thinks, I got to have the cheapest price. And if I don't get this guy email him the price really fast, and that's exactly what you don't do, right? You have to basically, first of all, people buy from people they like and trust. And if you don't build bonding and rapport, if you don't build those relationships on the front end, then you are exactly that. You've been commoditized. So we teach our folks, hey, build a relationship, build trust, take your time, don't rush to go make a quick sale. Get the shopping list. In other words, figure out what the budget's going to be, figure out what's going to make a win for the customer. So you talk about multiplying success here on this podcast. What does success look like for our customer? What does winning look like for our customer? What's the pain? Another Sandler thing I learned is people move away from pain and they move towards pleasure. So find your customer's pain or find out what's going to get them excited and zero in on that. And then they'll start to open up and tell you things about what it's going to take to earn their business. They'll coach you and actually say, I need you to be here, and give you the second and third chance and give you a chance to really go work the market and work your pricing to help you get that win because they want to work with you. Otherwise, you're just 1 out of 10 people who quote it. So if you don't do that, then you've kind of missed the point. And that's not the lifestyle or the fun thing that made me successful at Supply Pointe was just being a guy who set pricing. I connected with my customers. I have stories where my customer, we have stories where we bought our customer a vehicle for his private personal life because he was hard up on his luck and needed transportation. You build those relationships with people that now stick around for 20 plus years. And I think because, like I said earlier, people aren't firing the pallet guy or the box guy. They would be firing Adam. And when you're firing Adam, that's a lot harder to do because that's his buddy. That's his friend. Hopefully I've earned that. And that's kind of what we do to get around commodity is you build those relationships. And if you're not doing that and you're pricing and praying, then we've either failed you as a mentor and as a franchisor, or you need to start listening and get more Sandler sales training because we've been trying to get you to get that through your head. So one way or another, it's coming out, but we'll push it until they get it.
That's so wonderful. Well, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about finding your own version of success with launching your own business locally. And then the idea of franchising pops into your mind. So what was it about franchising that kind of led you to want to go this direction versus others? And how has it been going for you?
Franchising is amazing. And, I think everybody says they fall into franchising. You hear it a million times at every conference, and it's really is true. First of all, I had an opportunity to do something with my dad, who you've met. And we had an opportunity to start our own business where we could work together, even though we were 8 hours away in different marketplaces. This guy's got all the sales and business background in the world. I got nothing, but he taught me pretty quickly. A couple of days, I was up and running. And so we realized because we had those 2 successful markets, we should do something with that. So theoretically, I was the first franchisee, and we were 1 for 1 with me, luckily. And that's why we decided to franchise, because it seemed like it would be a fun way to meet people. And we wanted people that wanted to build something more than just getting replacing their job income. I'm not really looking for people to come here and just have a job, buy themselves a job. This is big opportunity. This isn't your typical franchise. I want to just stress something real quick, if that's okay, Tom. The people that fit here at Supply Pointe are empire builders. And in other words, what I'm saying is they understand business. They understand that you can go get a job anywhere, right? And you can make some good money at a job. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with having a job. Being an entrepreneur, as you know, and being a business owner, it's not for everyone, and it's really hard. And whether you get into franchising or not, that doesn't mean you're rich because you bought a franchise. You got to put a lot of work in, but you're buying into something that's been proven, it can be duplicatable, and you're wanting the system, so you have to figure out what does and doesn't work. And then you can join an organization that's got mentor programs and training and other people who've gotten it done, and you know this. So what makes people hit fun numbers and numbers that can be 7-figure income potential, and I don't just say that lightly. This is a $16 trillion industry, and we've got our vendors. Some of our vendors do $50 to $100 million in top line sales, bringing crazy numbers. Our franchisees are free agents to go out into the marketplace and find the very best deals in a very healthy territory. But we need people that understand that they've got to build a business. And I want to say one more thing. One thing that I learned about on my journey is don't try to take it all on my own. It took me a very long time to get out of my own way. People kept saying, I kept hearing it, but I didn't listen. It's stop being the bottleneck of your own business. And you'll make some money based on your skill and your hustle, but that's not a scalable thing, Tom. At some point you wear down. As I was very good at it when I was younger, but as I got older and started having family and kids and the knees get a little more achy and I'm not in my physical prime as I used to be, I needed help. And when you start bringing on talent and you acquire talent to start creating revenue and build systems and you let them lead and you empower them, your business actually explodes and you start thinking bigger. You don't think, how am I going to do this? Who's going to help me do this? And then you're going to go through a little bit of a moment there where it's going to be tough. You got to teach and there's a learning curve, a gap for a second. And then all of a sudden you pop out on the other side and you're like, wow, look how much better I am because I did that. And then I started thinking bigger. You don't want to be thinking in terms of, hey, if I could just add maybe an extra 5% to my business, I'd be really happy. I started throwing out crazy numbers. They always say the 10X mentality. Now we talk 10X like it's like second nature to us. And 10X is a lot easier than 2X, because when you start thinking of crazy numbers, you start putting in infrastructure to reach those bigger numbers, as opposed to just how you get by for the next little wave of, smaller fragmented income. And those are the type of things that we've done here at Supply Pointe that kind of grew our corporate locations or our local locations, and why we franchise, because we are looking for people that are doing that in their market and explode it, because the income potential is off the charts, but they have to be willing to build a business. And that's who we're looking for. And that's what I think makes people successful, is they're not self-employed. They're looking to be big business owners. Last thing here, and I'll hush. This creates income for you. Lots of income. And then it gives you an opportunity to not just, zero out every year, but actually get smart and keep your money. So you can put it in things like investment accounts. You can put it in tax-free investment accounts, buy real estate, build wealth, or pass an asset down, or sell this as an asset. So we're looking for people who see the big picture and love the idea of maybe building a business to a crazy fun number, and then potentially selling it off, or at least having something of value. You don't get that at a job, of course, Tom. So that's what we're looking for, and that's why we franchise, because that's life-changing, and that gets us excited, and that's what moves me every day.
One of the things to kind of weave back into this a little bit, you alluded to this previously. I'd love for you to talk a little bit about the culture. Every franchise system, every brand kind of has their own culture. And how does that work with you all? How are you helping find, as you described, some of these empire builders and these franchisees or team members that are going to be joining up with you to find the right fit?
That's a great question. And as you are going through potentially, I don't want to use the word sales process, but as you are meeting potential interested investors or brand partners for Supply Pointe, you learn about who you are and who you're looking for, and the culture, who fits the culture. People talk about this. We try to say we walk the walk. And this is the golden rule. Treat people the way you want to be treated. That's the most important thing for us. When you go to Publix or Chick-fil-A, you just feel good. We want people to feel that, especially our customers or our franchisees or brand partners, when they're talking to our leadership team. The other thing is this: we're very tenacious, right? We don't apologize for wanting to win, and we like money. We want to make money. I have no problem saying that. When people sign up to create their own business, they have an option to check one or two boxes: for profit or nonprofit. They always click for profit. They want money. And so we want people that are hungry and motivated and want to win, and not looking just to replace an income, but build something special. So we're looking for that. But what we do, and we have phenomenal people talking to our potential brand partners, during the process. But what we're doing, essentially, once we get an introduction, is we want to just know all about that individual. We don't need to tell them about how great Supply Pointe is, or isn't, but is. And we want to know about Tom. We want to know about you. The whole first hour and a half is, what's your why? Why are you looking to own a business? What's your pain? What's pleasure look like for you? What do you like about the model in the first place? Why are you talking to us? And how can we maybe help you? Does it make sense to continue this conversation? Because we say it's about your journey. And if your journey aligns with what our mission is, then let's keep this conversation going, right? We try to make this something where they soul search and find out if there's a million great franchises out there. There's so many good brands out there. And brands deserve good franchisees, and franchisees deserve good brands. But it also needs to be a good fit. We want them to like to wake up and be happy, and that's what we're looking for. And at the end of the day, if we've kind of flushed that process out and they still feel good and we feel good, then let's go. And we want to onboard these people within the first month or two at the longest, and get them rocking and rolling and put income back on, in their pocket, and replace the revenue as quick as possible. And we have an individual franchisee that just came on board about a month ago. And during their training, we threw them leads, and they're on the potential of closing a deal, and they're not even finished training. And that's what we're about, is we want to see people grow and explode. So finding the right people is second to none. I will say one more thing. We've got people that are former athletes. We got professional athletes that are looking at us. We've got special ops, Marines, Air Force, Army, Navy. We've got some of the best of the best. We've got phenomenal human beings here at Supply Pointe. And I'm going to quote Nick Saban: high achievers do not like mediocre people, and mediocre people do not like high achievers. I know which one we are. We like high achieving, and we do not do very well. And as a former football coach, I do not do well with slacking and mediocrity. And I'm looking for people that aren't mediocre or want mediocre, settle for that. We want people that want more. We want people that are high achieving and want to build something elite. So I'm looking for the best of the best. And I think they'll fit in with our people if they're like that and they have that mentality, because we're a bunch of guys and gals that really want to win. And we're looking for winners like that.
Where do you see this whole thing going now that you've been in franchising for a little while? Where do you see this headed?
I think it's going to explode. I really do. And I don't just say that lightly. I've been very much careful with our growth. Somebody taught me a very long time ago to have something called controlled growth. We've had a lot of folks tell me that we could sell 500, 600 franchisees, and we've had opportunities to do it overnight. And I didn't want to. That's a lot of responsibility, and that requires a lot of support. And I would never want somebody to invest in our model and not feel like they got their money's worth. And I want to make sure they're supported. So if you've noticed, and you have, because you've been part of it, you've known me for a long time, we'll go in spurts. We'll maybe do 1 or 2 deals, and then all of a sudden we go quiet for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. I want to learn what worked, how to get those folks profitable, and then, okay, we're ready, and we need to tweak a few things, or the industry or the market's changed, the economy's changed, right? And then you go on a run. We did 15 deals in about a year, not that long ago, and then I paused it again. Not because we couldn't grow again, and I'm not saying we're not trying to grow, but we wanted to make sure our current group of franchisees were successful. They had all the support and the systems they needed. And we also wanted to make sure that we're bringing in the right people again. And that's where we're at. We're starting to really take off, and we've got a lot of new things in the works to help our franchisees. And right now I'm obsessed with franchisee profitability and getting these folks rocking and rolling. And we've got, just in that last wave that we've done, some people putting up some really fun and exciting numbers. We're excited for the FDD to go out in April so we can share that information and show off how some of these people are doing, because the roadmap in the next for the first 18 months, it's very exciting where you're going to end up in about a year and a half, 2 years. We can't wait to show people how people are tracking.
Well, Adam, for someone that tunes in and says, this is interesting, or they'd love to connect with you, how can someone get in touch or learn a little bit more about what you're doing?
Well, we obviously could go to the website and fill out a form, which is pretty simple, supplypointe.com with an E at the end. But I implore them to reach out to Victoria Healy, VICKTORIA.Healy at supplypointe.com. She would be more than happy and excited to get to know you and schedule that introductory call to make sure that this makes sense to continue the journey for you.
Well, Adam, this is a great time in the show, and we ask every guest the same 4 questions before they go. And the first question we ask is, have you had a miss or 2 on your journey and something you learned from it?
Well, as a former baseball player, I had a lot of swings and misses. So I don't know if I could count how many. But, when you start a business, you always tell yourself, I'm going to try to avoid all the pitfalls and find out where all the mistakes and landmines are and hit them. Well, I landed on every landmine you can think of. The nice thing is in franchising is when you walk the minefield and you blow up on every landmine, you know where they are, you sweep them, and then you create a nice clear path for few people to come in. One thing I think for me, a miss for me, was not letting go of being a owner-operator fast enough. I loved what I was doing. I thought I did really well with it. And I had a little bit of a sense of nervousness or anxiety when it came to bringing other people in. But I've scaled my business. And I wish I had done that so many years prior, Tom. It would have been life-changing a long time ago. I thought that I could do all this on my own. And what little old me didn't realize is that's exactly what I was. I could do so much more. And as I started to build a team, I realized this is life-changing. Not only am I building a dream and bringing other people with me that are now being empowered and building livelihoods and dreams for themselves. This is so exciting. I have camaraderie, and our numbers, our growth, our sales, everything's going through the roof. And so that was my biggest miss, was not thinking in terms of not how can I do this, who can help me do this? And that's what I learned, not quick enough. That's my biggest thing I think I've learned right now, is because it's been fun to reap those rewards.
Very good. Well, thanks for sharing. And let's look at the other side, the flip side of that, a
Sure.
make or a highlight or 2.
Well, we did exactly that. So, I always say you make first amount of money based on your skills, and then you need to hire people, right? And as soon as you hire folks, you hire those that you bring in talent, what's going to end up happening is that team's going to help you grow and elevate and build something special. But you also need systems, right? And so when you start to fine tune and improve on your systems, you bring in talent to help you, then all of a sudden the talent you bring in starts to become managerial leaders or mentors to another wave of talent, and you start to really grow the business and bring other talent in to help you, your business starts to explode. We're doing that, and that's been really fun to watch because now I feel like I have teams that are building, and we've built something really special, and then the numbers do the talking for it. So that's what I'm really excited about, is having people help me and everybody winning along the way. That's been really cool. I'm really glad that I went through the pain of not doing that, and now the pleasure, like I tie that back in, has been we're all growing, and we're doing it as one big group.
Well, the name of the show is Multiply Your Success. And we always like to ask, have you used a multiplier to help grow yourself personally or professionally, or any of the organizations you've run?
A couple things that I will just say that have helped me. I'm really good at B2B logistics, and I understand my business really well. Do I have some street smarts on other people's businesses? Sure. But keep the main thing. I'm really good at logistics in this world. And I now know franchising, but I couldn't tell you the first thing about running an ice cream store, right? So that's okay. So I think keeping things consistent and the main thing and focusing on what you're really good at has been very helpful for me, Tom. I think that's been a good multiplier as well. And then thinking big. I kind of alluded to this earlier. Don't be afraid to throw out big numbers like 10Xing. That's been really fun to kind of reach for bigger goals. And we're starting to hit some of those numbers. And that's been really exciting. So as far as that's concerned, is now you can share that with your team, your franchisees, and they can start to see that, hey, we're doing it here at our locations. Come with us and build your brand up too.
Excellent. Well, the final question we ask every guest is, what does success mean to you?
I'm going to show you I don't know if it's going to come up. Hopefully I can get this. There it is. So that was a picture from a franchisee in Nashville, Tennessee. He gifted that to me on his 55th birthday. He did a celebration of his birthday and his life and everything. And he sent me this picture, and it says, building a dream is best when you build the people who follow. During that journey, those people become family. So when you hear that, you realize you have an opportunity as a franchisor, or as maybe a business consultant, or as a franchisee, whatever you're at, there's people looking up to you. There's people that are leaning on you to get it done. And if you make this all about the team and the family, and you don't dine at a table for one, you bring everybody, and you want to feed all those folks, it's all going to come back to you. And it's not about how much I get, it's about how much we get. So I'm very much, I want my people to be happy. I want my franchisees, my brand partners, everybody, even my suppliers, to like working with Supply Pointe. We do that by leading with our culture, but also putting people first. And I think that is something that maybe I don't do a good enough job sharing and saying, but I really truly mean it from the bottom of my heart. We want everyone to win and be profitable and be successful. Their success is our success. And that's what drives me. And that's what winning looks like for Adam and Matt Cahill.
Well, Adam, as we bring this to a close, is there anything you were hoping to share or get across that you haven't had a chance to yet?
I think people that are maybe listening to this, it's kind of a multiple different audiences to speak to. I'll go back to something that I will say. I've learned a couple things that have really resonated with me over the years. We talked about owning your own business and keeping the main thing. But in school, they don't teach you much about financial IQ. I really think that people need to understand that none of us probably got taught or educated very well on how to grow your financial education. Start with reading some 101 books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant, and then realize owning a job. I talked about this earlier, but having a job is great and it works for a lot of people, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want more, if you're tired of making the owner's dream come true, and you want to take control of your own destiny, and you're looking to build a business, then maybe leave the employee side of the cash flow quadrant and jump over to owning your own business. And I think people that do that, if you're self-employed versus owning a business where you have people working with you, there's a difference between being self-employed and having a business with a team. And you really got to make sure you get out of that self-employed and into the business sector. So you can do that 10X growth, because you can't do it all by yourself, as we talked about in this show. And then lastly, there's a lot of people creating money. You create money, I create money. You create money from being an employee, but can you keep it? So you need to restructure your financial plan, whatever's going on inside your household, under your roof. Structure your financial plan to where you're paying yourself first, and to smart investments to where you can create wealth. Supply Pointe is a vehicle to create income. You can even create an asset and a wealth, but build a lot of it so you can start to keep it and reinvest it in things that multiply on that spectrum. So think big and put that kind of infrastructure in place. And I think great things will come for those people that are seriously considering owning a business or a franchise like Supply Pointe.
Adam, thank you so much for a fantastic interview. This has been a long time coming, and I'm so glad we were able to have that time together. Now let's go ahead and jump into today's 3 key takeaways. So takeaway number 1 is about building relationships with people so that they stick around for a long time. And it seems common sense, but I love this approach that they're taking there. Takeaway number 2 is when Adam talked about the culture of Supply Pointe and that they want to try to walk the walk and talk the talk, and that they're pursuing and finding high achievers and people who want to win and follow the golden rule to join their system. And I think that clarity on their culture has allowed them to attract the right types of franchisees and team members and even customers. Takeaway number 3 came at the tail end of the episode, and he talked about in school, they don't teach you about a financial IQ. And he said there's a difference between being self-employed and having a team. And he said Supply Pointe helps you create income, but it's a way to invest in other assets and build wealth. I thought that was a really interesting take, and I don't hear that very often from franchisors and franchise systems. And I really appreciate what he's trying to do and helping his franchisees figure out a way to use their franchise that they've purchased to build something greater that's more long-lasting than just revenue or just income for a lifestyle. And now it's time for today's win-win. So today's win-win comes from when Adam was talking about helping his franchisees and just really even a general business discussion about using your business when you launch to use your skills and talents to grow the business to a certain level of revenue, and then start hiring people to help out, to fill gaps, to take over tasks that maybe you can do, but it's not your strengths or it's not an area that gives you energy. And he said, don't be afraid to hire a team around you to help. And it will allow those people an opportunity to do something new, to find fulfillment and purpose and give them something to do. And it'll be a win for them. It'll be a win for you as you're able to step into new roles at the business and help it grow. And so that's the episode today, folks. Please make sure you subscribe to the podcast and give us a review. And remember, if you or anyone you know might be ready to franchise your business or take your franchise company to the next level, please connect with us at BigSkyFranchiseTeam.com, where you can schedule your free, no obligation consultation. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to having you back next week.